So normally on this Tuesday class, we will discuss what is happening around the world, and then if there's any stocks that we want to focus on the individual stocks as well. So today the agenda is that we will look at YTL power because this morning we saw the news about the super microcomputing and the YTL power and the news on that. So we will look at that. Then number two, we will look at the China stock. Okay. Particularly we look at after Trump win, what will happen to China, and then what are the stocks that we can look into. And number three, we will look at the Bitcoin. The Bitcoin is look at the craziness about the euphoria about the Bitcoin is really people are thinking how, because people are looking at they may go to 100,000. So how do we invest safely in this cryptocurrency? Okay, so that will be the agenda. So after that, then we will follow by the individual stock. Okay. So let's see. So we start with the super microcomputer. Okay. So we start with super microcomputer, and this news was actually somewhere in last week. Okay, when I think about 2 weeks ago, when the auditor EY for the super microcomputer resigned. Okay, so this is always trigger investors nervous whenever you see a public listed company where the auditor resigned. Everybody is like very, very worried. So that could be potential like fraud cases. So the share price plunged. So what happened in is that the super microcomputer has had a extremely volatile, okay, for financial year 2024 stock price performance. So if you were to look at the chart, okay, M S M S M super micro and how to spell SMCI, okay, SMCI. So from here 122 to the current share price of 23, right? It has basically lost about 22 divided by 123 is how much? Oh, where's my calculator? Okay. 22 divided by 123. So you lost about 22%, 82%. Okay, minus 1. So you lost about 82%. So this from here to here is you lost 82% in 1 year. So this is beginning of 2024. Okay, until here. So this kind of a drop is very scary. So basically the before this news, right? In fact, you have seen that their revenue has reduced. Okay, and then followed by the auditor resigned, then trigger people to sell off. And this gap is very, very big. So I don't think for a short period of time it will ever go back to this price level because this gap is super big. Okay, in order from here you jump back to this 46, you need a lot of good news. So this gap is kind at the moment I see that it's not easy to go back. Okay. So what happened is that for Malaysia, we also have a stock that is related, that it broke out in the news today. And then some of you asked me whether do we still have to hold the YTL power. Okay, I'm sure among here many of us were holding the YTL power, including myself. So then I look at the news and I also look at the annual report. I can share with you the annual report for YTL Power, and also their MD's interview. You can see that actually for this event, first we have to understand YTL power and the NVIDIA and the relationship between YTL power and the NVIDIA and also the super microcomputer. These three parties, what's their relationship? Okay, first, YTL power is to provide a AI data center. So this is a facility provider. Okay, you understand this one as a facility provider. Okay, just like you provide office space, and then whoever want to rent the office space will come and rent. And then in the office space, I can use NVIDIA chip to make my office space more advanced. You get what I mean? So this is exactly what happened. So YTL power is to provide a data center, okay, like a big place that can accommodate many tech giants to have their companies doing operations regarding the cloud computing in that data center. Okay, and then this data center is powered by the NVIDIA chip. And at the same time, not only the NVIDIA chips, because there are so many types of chips, right? NVIDIA only you are looking at the very, very high-end advanced GPU that will come into the data center. You also need some other AI chips. So YTL power is also the customer, okay, the customer of the super microcomputer. So meaning the YTL power will buy the necessary ingredients to set up this factory, so-called the factory or so-called the data center. They need the necessary ingredients. So what are the ingredients? The chips will be from the NVIDIA as well as from the super microcomputer. And currently, super microcomputer has this bad scandal about their auditor being resigned. So then this prompted the YTL power to switch, okay, to the another supplier for the chip. So who they are turning to? They are turning to, okay, the same report indicates that YTL Power Group, YTL Group, the whole group, is now turning to Wistron Group, Malaysia subsidiary. So we are turning to the subsidiary of this Wistron Group. Okay, so that means we are, instead of getting the chip from the super microcomputer, we are getting the chip from another provider. Okay, so if you were to look from this sense, this point of view, can anybody tell me what's the impact? The impact on the YTL power from this news. Is it going to be big impact? Is it going to be small impact? What do you think about the revenue? In terms of the YTL power's revenue, what is the impact? Big or small? Because now you are switching the customer. Before you are supplier, your supplier was the super microcomputer chip, right? So now you just switch to another supplier. So what's the impact? Any impact? Small impact? Yes, not much. Okay. In fact, let us understand more about this data center. So The Edge actually has this report. They posted on the November 4th, and then they repost again today because so many people are worried about this stock. Here it is very clear. Maybe I can share with you this article. And thanks for Julian who shared with me this article. Okay, so here more than 40% sell off over just 4 months in share of YTL Power International, okay? And its parent YTL Corp, which holds 54.56, is a stark contrast to the rarely experienced before that. So this was like boom and the bust, okay? So what has happened? And some believe that the euphoria has waned and the reality has set in, okay? So is it really that bad? So what are the concerns here? So first, okay, the current investigation by the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission, MACC, into the YTL Powers Unit, YTL Communications, Selandia Berhad, added to the selling pressure, okay? This incident was actually in 2011, where there's a program called the in Besta yeah Besta I do cannot remember the name, Pestaria or something. Okay, so it's somewhere here. Mhm. It's the YTL power. Okay, anyway, the MACC was actually investigating the project that they won, okay, back in 2011. And that project name is it's a government, yeah, Bestari Net, yeah, that's right, yes, yes, Bestari, yeah, Bestari Net, okay, that project. And then according to this article, right, it says that they have 18 bidders to bid for this project, and then they won this project. It's according to the open tender. So it is quite open. Okay, that is but however this issue is still undergoing the investigation, so we can't say much. But then from this article it says that this it's through the open tender, okay, among 18 bidders who bid for the project. So we will yet to see, okay, and then and as you can see that the share price has come down, okay, and also there is also another acquisition of the Rand Hill Utilities, about 55%, more than 50%. Okay, they acquire and then become the shareholders of Rand Hill more than 50%. So they are the major shareholders. So for this, they see that there is a great opportunity for the water supply in Johor, because you have to read this article, okay, because it is a very long article, and they are looking at because of the water shortage in water in Johor because of the data center. So they are expecting that the water demand will be increased by 30% over the next few years. 30%. So, and we are looking at the shortage of water. If let's say we were to expect all the data centers to be in full operation, remember I said now currently the data centers some are still building, and then a few are running. So you can't see the impact on the utilities yet. The utilities, the golden era, okay, like the full demand for the utilities will be in the next 2 years, where all this data center is in full production or fully occupied. Then you see that they demand a lot of utilities such as electricity and of course the water as well. So the YTL powers this utilities. They are investing a 100 megawatt. Okay, so not only they are investing a 100 megawatt gas plant in Sabah. So in Singapore, the unit YTL Power Seraya is also building a 600 megawatt gas power plant. Okay, so overall the group is undergoing a very heavy capex cycle. Very, very heavy. Not only they want to acquire the Rand Hill, then they also want to invest in the gas plant, and also in Sabah and in Singapore. Further away from home, in the UK, its wholly owned Wessex Water is expected to invest an estimated £3.5 billion in the next 5 years, compared with £1.4 billion in the current cycle. So this is how many times? This is about 3 times more, even if tariffs are adjusted higher. Okay, one can still expect the higher depreciation in the assets to continue eating into the profits from an accounting perspective, despite growth in the regulated asset base. So he explained. So there will be some, because of the capital expenditure, you have so much of a capital expenditure. So definitely you have depreciation. For those of you who are in the accounting sector, you know that when you have capital spending, you need to depreciate, and then you need to be expensed in the accounting. So it will be net profit will be calculated after the depreciation. So when you have such a huge capex, definitely your net profit will be impacted. Okay, so that is a very transparent kind of a disclosure. And so So it asked whether about the capex strain due to the aggressive growth trajectory. He says the group never had capex issue. Okay, so this is answered by the managing director of the YTL Power. Okay, we have always kept lots of cash. Just focus on our current businesses and profits, which is important. To invest, you must have steady cash. So at the moment, their debt equity is about 1.2 gearing. Okay, their debt equity 1.2 gearing, which is so here it says here. Okay, so as at June, YTL Power had cash of 8.89 billion and short and long-term borrowing of 3.96B and 28B. This is the long-term debt, not 28B. Yeah? So the net gearing is about 1.2 times. It's comparable to the Tenaga Nagpur Berhad as well as the Malakoff as well. Okay, it's comparable. So some say that it is heavily discounted, but then according to the analysts covering the firm, their target price is ranged between 4 ringgit and 7.45 with an average of 5.64 ringgit, the target price. All but one has a buy call on the stock. Okay, so meaning that not basically everybody buy on the stock except one now. One has a neutral. Nobody has a sell call. Okay, so basically 13 say buy. One is neutral. Okay, so the counter is closed. Yeah. So people are looking at YTL Power because of all the negative news. So first they have the ringgit strengthening. Okay, because 96%. Okay, let me show you the annual report for the YTL Power. So over here, they did mention that they have 96% of their revenue are foreign based. Okay, so if you were to look at their revenue breakdown, almost like 70% are from Singapore. So Sing dollar is important. So if let's say Sing dollar strengthen against the RM, so it's good for YTL Power. And then the UK is about 1/4 of the revenue. Okay. And of course, the Malaysia is so small, which means the data center and all those are small little thing. Okay. So which means that the bulk of the revenue is from Singapore. So if Singapore side, they are actually growing. They are building more plant, the hydrogen plant, and then they are growing. And then they're expecting their revenue to increase from the Singapore side. So if let's say Singapore side, not much of a problem. Okay. And then it is expanding. And then the UK side, the problem is the capex. And then that causes a huge depreciation that will erode into the accounting profit, which is the net profit. Okay, so that is a concern. But if you look at the proportion, right, this is about 1/4, and then this is about 70%. Okay, so the important is that as long as the and then we are looking at this company, they are going into the next few years, they are going a huge round of capital expansion. They expand, they build plants, more plants, and all these require a lot of capital, whereby you probably will see the results years later. So which means that this one so this is their latest annual report. So you can also Google and then you can get this annual report. So which means that if you are holding this stock, right, it's not like a 1 year stock or a few months stock, it's going to be years, because you are looking, if you really want to see the development and then the reaping of the profit and the revenue, it will take some time. It will take a few years because they are expanding and then they were expecting more sales revenue to come in. Okay, so which means that this is a long-term hold. In fact, for the utility stock, my objective is long-term hold. Same thing as the Tenaga. Same thing as the PBB. If let's say you are holding the water, the Penang water, as well as the Rand Hill, the Johor water, okay, same thing. As long as you are holding the utility, it should be a long-term hold for you, because as I said, with the data center, definitely there is a strong surge in the demand for these utilities, but it will be happening in next year or beyond that. Okay. Okay. So let me give you this link. This link you have, and then this one is actually from the YTL Power, YTL Corp, their homepage, their website. Okay, so you can see this as well. Okay, so here they actually explain what chip that they are buying from the NVIDIA. They're buying the Blackwell powered chip. And this chip currently, because NVIDIA announced that they have some delay in terms of the producing and the delivery of the Blackwell chip. So this has been delayed 6 months, okay? And until the end of this year, then they will deliver. I think the fourth quarter they will deliver. So meaning one of the reason why people were talking about the YTL power is that the chips are not arriving yet. So that's why there is some delay in the production. I mean, not production, but the building of this data center in Johor Kulai. Okay, because of the but however, this chip, according to this article, according to the managing director of YTL Power, it's in super high demand. Basically, the price, they haven't even fixed the price yet. For one, last time we mentioned about the NVIDIA, their AI GPU for A100 and the H100 are very, very expensive, right? So for this one, it's also very expensive. So for one unit, they are looking at about 30,000 to 40,000 USD per piece. And you are looking at one people center, you need hundreds of them. Okay, you need a lot of them. So which means that these are very, very high-end data center, and then it will make Malaysia YTL Power data center as the ASEAN or the Asian most power or fastest AI center in the Asia or the ASEAN country. So which means that this with the NVIDIA GPU that it will bring the YTL data center as very, very efficient, okay, and very advanced, super advanced. So we should be proud of this achievement because in Malaysia we have the condition. The condition is a natural resources condition. We have cheap land, we have cheap resources such as the utilities, electricity, water, and now we have the network as well, 5G network, infrastructure network. And the physical infrastructure is all very well built, and also the ports and everything. So our condition is very good for foreign direct investment. Okay. The only thing that I do not like, or rather I'm a bit worried, is the minimum wage. Okay, because of the minimum wage, we may not be able to attract manufacturing-based foreign direct investment coming into Malaysia. Okay, so maybe on next week I will talk about the minimum wage, but the thing is that the data center doesn't require human labor. So if you are just looking at this natural resources and land and all these things, so definitely I think we will continue to attract. Okay, we'll continue to attract the investment on this data center section here. But whether we can attract more manufacturing sectors coming into Malaysia, this one I leave it to next week. I can show you all the information that I have get from, I have done my research. Okay, so this is for the YTL power. Any questions on the YTL power? Okay. So this is just to say that we just buy from another Taiwanese firm. Okay, we just buy from another company. Okay. So then next I want to talk about China. This one I need to play the video. So here I am, okay, I want to save this video. I will pause and then I will explain. Okay, and then I will not play the whole thing, but then I will explain the important part. Okay.
This was number one, but this is the first of many.
The U.S. efforts to contain China's growth began with tariffs and some of the trade policies in the Trump administration.
Basically, they sought to make it more expensive for Chinese companies to sell to the U.S. and consequently redress a massive trade deficit, the imbalance that occurs when a nation imports more from a country than it exports to it.
President Biden is holding back on a decision to scrap any Trump-era tariffs on China imports.
You can see this has had an impact. In 2023, the deficit shrank to the smallest total since 2010, reflecting a decline in imports shipped from China.
This is important. This is important. U.S. trade deficit with China, because since 2018, during the Donald Trump era, we have seen so much of a trade war. And then they are, every day you see the news, they are talking about 500 billion trade deficit, 500 billion trade deficit. So the figure always in my mind is that the trade deficit was so big. Okay, so that was back in 2018. So now this trade deficit has actually declined. So meaning that there is less export going into the US. So which means that US having this trade war is successfully reduce the export from China. I mean the import from China. It's considered a success for US because they have successfully reduced the trade deficit. Okay, but let's watch.
China. But globally, China's productive prowess is at historic heights. Its manufactured goods trade surplus is the largest relative to global GDP of any country since the US.
This one is important. So here what it shows you is that although China has actually reduced in terms of the export to US, but if you look at the whole world, they have actually increased. So if you want to curb China and make them export less, actually they are not achieving the objective, because you can only restrict the export into the US, but you can't restrict the export to the rest of the world. The rest of the world is hungrily, eagerly importing the import from cheaper and more quality Chinese goods. Okay.
Right after World War II. Trump also introduced policies to control high-tech exports from U.S. manufacturers, as well as those of some allied economies, which were tightened by the Biden administration.
So that essentially makes it impossible or much harder to transfer U.S. goods or U.S. technologies into China.
The U.S. government stopped Huawei from being able to sell much of its telecom equipment into the United States, and then it went even a step further. It went to many of its allies around the world and tried to persuade them also to not let Huawei sell its equipment into their countries. That caused all sorts of problems for them. In 2022, they constrained China's ability to get the most advanced semiconductors out there, including AI chips that would be used to train models like ChatGPT. They also constrained the country's ability to get chip-making equipment, including the machines that make the most advanced chips that drive.
Okay, so they, in 2022, under the Joe Biden's administration, they have in fact started in 2018, Donald Trump started the trade war. Okay, but then when the Joe Biden came over, he continued. Okay, and then he made this thing worse by having forming like allies with other countries, especially the semiconductor equipment maker ASML and other chip company, and then trying to prevent them from selling the advanced AI chip to China. Okay, so do you think it worked? Do you think it will stop Chinese from getting those chips? Do you think it will work? No, we have seen that. I've discussed so many times it will not work. Somehow they will get the chip. Okay, so that's what.
Smartphones and also AI and quantum computing.
Massive appliances like these extreme ultraviolet lithography machines developed by Dutch company ASML. The constraints are also intended to hinder China's tech giants from developing anything that could threaten America's military superiority, a concern long intertwined with Washington's economic strategy.
In terms of semiconductors and these really sensitive technologies, China is still lagging behind the US. So we have seen some efficacy there.
But the data shows US-led
Wait, let me see what happens.
export controls had an unintended side effect. They forced China to become more self-reliant and
Okay, the keyword is they forced China to become self-reliant. So that's the keyword. Because you want to stop me from becoming stronger, then you actually make me to become stronger because I have to be strong so that nobody can stop me. Okay, so that's why Chinese government has invested billions and billions of renminbi or dollar into the semiconductors industry.
and invest in its own scientists and researchers.
They've been very aggressive in applying for patents that they think are going to help them develop domestic industries that are critical to their future.
When President Xi Jinping makes something a priority in China, he can point to banks to provide cheap financing, he can point to state-owned enterprises to throw their full weight behind backing that.
Okay, so what she says is that whenever Xi Jinping wants a certain industry to do well, he will put lots of money, not only from the government side, but also to ask the bank to extend the loan in this industry, and then ask the certain sector to do this, and then by giving them a lot of support in the semiconductors industry, such that they can perform well in this industry. So the government do all kinds of things just to support the semiconductors industry.
Certain sector or industry.
For instance, backers of companies like Shanghai Microelectronics Equipment considered China's best bet for competing with ASML's advanced lithography machines.
At this point, I think everybody believes that they're many years away from being able to match ASML at the pinnacle of the industry, but they're pouring billions and billions of dollars into this effort, and they're very determined to be able to close the gap as much as they possibly can.
Evidence that China's semiconductor ecosystem was expanding emerged in 2023 when Huawei released the Mate 60, or more precisely, when Bloomberg News commissioned a research firm to take one apart.
Inside that phone was...
So this was inside the Huawei phone. They actually found very advanced chips there. So which means that the Chinese, they can gain access to very advanced chips. Okay, so you can't stop them. And let me move forward. This export market there about the EV.
Take a look at this chart. You can see China's market share of many high-tech exports growing, particularly EVs, despite US tariffs and restrictions on access to technology.
Ultimately, there is this idea that trade always gets through. And that's sort of what we see when we think about the EV industry in China. So, for example, a big EV automaker like BYD, it's already getting around some of these potential restrictions by building factories in places like Thailand, in Hungary, and in Brazil.
Trump wants to further limit imports of Chinese EVs and batteries, and in his second term may try to fulfill a popular campaign pledge to protect US car makers.
I will impose whatever tariffs are required, 100%, 200%, 1,000%. They're not going to sell one car into the United States.
Okay, so this is what is expected. Okay, so the EV industry will be facing competition, because this competition is like a price war competition. And not only that, you are looking at the US. Under the Donald Trump, he will not allow a single Chinese EV car to be in the US. Okay, so that will impact. But however, from the statistics that I've shown you, you can successfully prevent the cars from getting into the US, but can you prevent the cars from going elsewhere? You can't. So the cars will still be able to go to the rest of the world, and then the BYD sales will still be the number one in the world in terms of the EV car. Okay, so which means that although they have a lot of all these trade restrictions, but the Chinese companies, they are still doing well because their market is global, not only US, it's global. Okay.
The concern in Washington is that the electric vehicles and some of the software behind them would be able to collect personal information and perhaps share it with the Chinese government, or at least with the companies that are involved in making those vehicles.
It's the kind of rhetoric Beijing has vehemently rejected.
中国将继续坚定维护本国企业的正当合法权益，我们也支持中国企业依法维护自身权益。
So, have two U.S. administrations hindered China in ways Trump initially intended? It doesn't appear so.
The vast majority of Made in China 2025 targets that Bloomberg tracks actually have been achieved or are on track to be achieved.
Tariffs have helped cut America's trade deficit with its rival. But, as we saw earlier, they haven't prevented China from boosting exports elsewhere. And while the U.S. may have slowed Beijing's progress in some areas, like advanced chip making, overall, Xi Jinping's industrial policies are successfully advancing China's technological capabilities. But even if the U.S. hasn't managed to trip China yet, nobody expects a second Trump administration to stop trying.
If you look at the geopolitical landscape, I think it's clear that the United States will continue to apply pressure on their ally for more restriction.
How this sequel to Trump's first confrontation with China will play out is yet to be written. But if you listen to Trump, it's clear that...
Okay, so you can see that there is no use, okay? Even though they want to do trade restrictions, but China company will still do well. So here I'm going to show you another video, and this video actually talks about one professor is sharing his view about the trade war. This professor is from Columbia University. So in fact, he says that it actually makes the US worse off if he were to do a trade sanction on the Chinese goods. Okay, the only way to make US better off is through win-win situation. So which means that if you can recall, I would like to bring in the Bill Clinton. Does anybody know who is Bill Clinton? Bill Clinton. He was, okay, that's why Elon Musk supported Trump's election campaign. Yeah, that's right. And also a few other things about the transgender, about the other things as well. And now Elon Musk become the Zhuge Liang for the you know who is Zhuge Liang, right? So Zhuge Liang is like a maverick, is like a advisor, okay, for the king. So now the king is Donald Trump, and then the Elon Musk is the Zhuge Liang. I hope he can do a good decision for him. But anyway, so come back to the China and the US. There is actually according to this professor, he's actually saying that the two countries in terms of the global economy and the US economy, right, it will only benefit if we have open trade. Okay, so then the trade will be like a win-win situation. So in fact, globalization just introduced was in early 1990s. So that was during the Bill Clinton's era. Okay, Bill Clinton was from 1992 to 1998, I think. So it's about from 1990 to 1998, something like that. So it's about 8 years of become the U.S. president. So during that time, in the 1990s, you see that the U.S. people, they were the people there will feel the most comfortable during that time, and their economy was doing very well. Then they have no inflation, And when Bill Clinton was re-elected the second consecutive term, he actually won 379 seats. This round we saw Donald Trump won about 314 seats, right? So that was like a big deal. But for Bill Clinton, he actually won 379 seats. So it was like a very clear winning for Bill Clinton because the people were so happy. So when you are so happy, your chances of getting re-elected is very, very high. But when the people are so frustrated, so the chances of re-elected is very slim. So in this case, the US people, they are really, really frustrated about the Biden's administration. There are many, many policies that make them cannot imagine. Okay, so they cannot imagine this thing will happen to the US, and then they want a change, and then they will vote for Donald Trump. And many of them, they said in the interview, they said that it's not that I like Donald Trump. In fact, they do not like Donald Trump, but they have to vote for Donald Trump. Why? Because the other party is even worse. Their policy make them poorer, make their country messy, and a lot of the immigrants coming take away their job, social crime, and a lot of stupid things. Okay, so all the silly policies. So then they want to change. Okay, so that's why you see that across all the races, like whether you are Hispanic or you are Asian or you are African, across all the races, all increase the vote to Donald Trump, okay, compared to 2016. So this shows that the people were very frustrated. But anyway, let's see this professor. Okay.
Further extends a trade war with China. In 2016, Donald Trump ran on a campaign promise to introduce tariffs on Chinese goods and bring back manufacturing jobs to the US. On paper, the plan sounded great and certainly resonated with his core group of followers. But the truth is, his ensuing trade war was a total failure. Conservative estimates show that 92% of the tariffs imposed on China were borne by American companies and consumers. Once again, this is basic economics and exactly why CNBC is now reporting that Trump's proposed tariffs could raise prices for consumers and slow spending.
Okay, so you see that because of the more expensive things, in fact, the American people actually worse off. You will get inflation. Okay, and if you imagine, let's say you do not have the tariffs, you can import things cheaper, and then you can bring down the cost of living, and then you will be happy. But now everything's so expensive, then you will lead to inflation.
Instead of learning from past mistakes, which, let's be honest, isn't one of Trump's strong points, Trump now wants to implement 60% tariffs against all Chinese imports. Frankly speaking, this would be a disaster for the US economy and cause inflation to absolutely skyrocket, which is actually quite ironic, as rising inflation and high cost of living was a major factor contributing to Kamala's loss. I recently had the pleasure of interviewing Jeffrey Sachs, a world-renowned economist from Columbia University who exposes the truth of the US-China trade war.
You know, our American economy, our American way of life really depends on China.
Absolutely. And our economy depends on China. Their economy depends on us, not to every dollar or yuan, but for our prosperity. This has been a tremendously beneficial two-way trade.
Right.
By the way, the first principle of international economics, which I have taught for 44 years, is mutual gain.
Yes.
Trade is not about one side winning and the other side losing. That's how generals think. But economists say trade is about mutual gain. We get some.
So that is the basic economic principle. So the very first economic lesson that we learn about international trade is that specialization. Each country will have our own unique strength. So we just have to work on our own strength, unique strength, and then we produce the best, and then we trade with another country. So for example, Malaysia, we are good in natural resources, so we will produce things cheaper, and then we will trade with Singapore. Singapore, maybe they can produce some technology better, then they will produce technology, and then we will trade. Okay, so that is the basic principle of economics. But however, if you impose protectionism, then you will forgo this benefit. So things will get more expensive because no longer you have the cost efficient driving the lower cost and with bring down the unit cost. Because when you are specialization, you produce in a large quantity and then you can bring down the cost of production. But if you are doing protectionism, like US, they are not good at the manufacturing, and then they want to force themselves to do the manufacturing, then everything will be expensive. So in the end, they will buy expensive stuff. Okay, and then the whole world will buy expensive stuff as well. Imagine if your Apple is all built in US, how expensive it is to build in US for the Apple. Or the American cars. Now, not many American car brand also. If let's say Ford built their cars in the US, or Tesla built their cars in the US, they can't fight with the other car models. They can't fight. Okay, so this thing, I think, not easy to work. Okay, unless you have a special solution to bring down the price and then to compete with other, because you are not one country in the world. You are like living with the whole world, 200 over countries. You cannot think like selfish. Okay, but anyway, we listen.
Something, you get something.
Correct.
And the United States has overall been enriched by China's rise.
The U.S. has been enriched by the rise of China and a fruitful 50-year diplomatic relationship. But the only message you hear from Donald Trump's government is China is winning. China is taking our jobs. Make America great again. Trump wants to impose 60% tariffs on all Chinese imports. But has anyone stopped to think, what happens if China retaliated and imposed a 60% tariff on American exports to China? Let's see how this would work in the real world by examining the American farm industry. Take a look at this graph, which shows how China is the largest export market for U.S. farmers. The Chinese market is considered to be irreplaceable. And if China...
Okay, so you can see that China, every year they import a lot of agricultural products from U.S. So meaning that the agricultural product from the U.S., the Chinese are the big customers of them. So if let's say they retaliate, so this part, the farmers will be worse off. Okay.
China responded to Trump's tariffs. With 60% tariffs of its own, the U.S. could lose a vast proportion of its soybean and corn exports. The most ironic part is that U.S. farmers overwhelmingly support and voted for Donald Trump, but they could ultimately become the biggest losers of this new trade war with China.
What's up?
Hi, Jira. We brought you here today.
Once again, listen to Professor Sachs address the issue of Americans losing their jobs to China and why ultimately China is still the ideal trading partner for the U.S.
If you're in a factory competing directly with a highly efficient, low-cost Chinese exporter who's able to encroach in your market, yeah, you may lose. You may lose your job, your wage may go down, and so forth. 2 points about that. One, somewhere else in the United States, there's a huge winner. There's someone who's exporting to China. All of us as consumers, because we're able to get our Apple phones or just about anything else that we have that has efficient Chinese production in it.
Okay, so what it says here is that if let's say you are looking at having trade with China, so meaning that the U.S. company, they are actually producing their product in China so that they can actually bring down the cost and then to sell to the rest of the world. And not only that, they are also gaining a lot of sales from the Chinese consumers, because Chinese has 1.4 billion of the population. So it's a huge market and their purchasing power is quite high. So which means that if you are worrying about the US the job is being taken over by the Chinese, that you are not producing your Apple in US, you are producing your Apple in China, so the American, they are losing their job. But in another look at it is that the American companies are making a lot of money. So although you see that the people are losing their job in the manufacturing sectors, but these American companies, they are making huge money because they are able to produce things cheaper, and then they are able to access to the Chinese market.
So we're winning that way. Our standard of life and our quality of life has gone up. Now, the principle of international trade is that the winners win more than the losers lose, because there's a net gain for both societies. But what is also true is if our society is really stingy so the winners pocket their winning and the losers are left in their own, you're going to have a disgruntled people in the losing areas. And in our case, in the United States, while the U.S. overall has been a huge beneficiary of trade with China, and by the way, I said this in California recently, and they were very surprised to hear this because no one talks like that.
Right.
I said, "Are you kidding? You've been enriched. This is."
So this professor is actually saying that by having a trade with China, U.S. becomes so much richer, but nobody actually think like that. Okay, so which means that when you're having a trade war, things are moving to the wrong direction.
You're the IT center of the world, but you don't produce things. China produces your goods and gives incredible profits to your design, like NVIDIA. So if we were a little less cruel to those who suffer an adverse consequence, say from import competition, we would be honest to also say, look at how our country as a whole have gained. How many companies have found huge markets in China? How many companies produce in China? How many companies are engaged with China in supply chains? That's what honesty would be. We don't have it in our politics.
Professor Sachs is right. We don't have honesty in American politics. Total GDP. China is the largest trading should be to seek cooperation and assistance from China, because without that, there's little hope for its success. Remember what I said earlier. China's position of strength is long-term planning, and in the past 4 years, U.S. trade has increasingly become a smaller portion of Chinese exports. In fact, when
this figure, okay, we focus on this figure. So here it says that China dependency on the U.S. export. So meaning that in the past, so here, this is the China GDP, and this is 2023, okay? So this green color is the China GDP, 17 trillion. And then the red color is the China-US export. So meaning that China exports to the US. So it only accounts for 2.79% of the China GDP. Because China has a huge customer base. They are exporting to the African country, the Asian country, to many, many other countries. So this US customer is only 2.79. So even if US were to restrict the export from China, it will not cause a dent into China GDP because the proportion is so little. You get what I mean? So meaning that trade war on the China, the impact is not much because the China now they have wider customer base. The only thing is the technology. Maybe the technology they will lose out, and then but however, because of the race between the U.S. and the China, and they're spending a lot of money. The Chinese government is spending a lot of money on the semiconductors industry, so they are slowly closing the gap of the technology gap, the semiconductors gap.
When we look at the data, Chinese exports to the U.S. are now less than 3% of China's total GDP. China is the largest trading partner to over 120 countries around the world, financing trillions of investment projects on every corner of the globe through its signature Belt and Road Initiative.
And for those who are asking,
and has built up a large domestic base of manufacturing to sustain itself for the future. Just look at this graph, which
this graph, okay. Now this is the talking about the global brands, meaning the European brands or the American brands, the global brands such as McDonald's, Apple, Starbucks, all these global brands. Okay, in 2020, the global brands are having account for 64% of the market share. Okay, for example, McDonald's or whatever. Okay, these account for 64% of the market share. So meaning that the Chinese people they are likely to buy American goods. They are likely to buy the Western goods. Okay, but now 2024, look what happened. There's a switch. So the global brands like Starbucks, McDonald's, and all this is less now, 36%, and then which is replaced by their local brands. For example, the Starbucks. There's a comparison between the coffee of the Starbucks and their local brand is the Luckin brand. The price of the coffee for the Luckin it's about 10 yuan, okay, or 11 yuan. But for the Starbucks it's about 20 yuan. Okay, so it's about almost like half price. So naturally, because of the economy and not doing well, the recession, so naturally the people of the Chinese people, they are switching back to the local brand. They consume less of the foreign brand, especially the automobile. Okay, and basically, I went to China for the past few years. I always go to China. So in the past, I think it was in 2000 or 2005 or even 2015. In the past, whenever I go to China, the cars that I saw are like Audi, Volkswagen, Ford. You can see a lot of foreign made cars on the road for the Chinese cars. But now recently I went there and I noticed that it's all Chinese local EV cars. Like you have the BYD. BYD is the biggest car. And then you have many. Okay. And occasionally I spotted Xiaomi, but that was like for the 5 days I only saw one Xiaomi car. And then XPeng I see quite a lot. XPeng is really nice. And Li Auto, and then many. So totally changed. Okay, the landscape is totally changed. And McDonald's also I see very little of McDonald's. KFC, all this I see not as much as before. And the Apple sales also prove that the Chinese people, they prefer to buy Huawei than the Apple phone. Okay, so all these are happening now. So which means that there is no winner. If let's say US continue to sanction the Chinese goods and then to give protectionism tariffs towards the Chinese goods, in the end it will be backfired. Okay, their own brand will get less sales. So these tech giant in terms of their revenue probably will suffer if let's say things get worse, because they will lose a big customer base in China. Okay, so
how quickly.
So then this will be looking at this. So which means that if you to ask me, okay, because now you see that the share price and also the Hang Seng Index and also the Shanghai Index all came down. Okay, so if you were to ask me, does that mean that I should keep on holding my Chinese stock, or I should sell or whatever? Okay, for me, I really think that we should hold, okay, long-term hold, because China, in terms of the technology, right, in terms of the AI, China is considered leading humanoid robot. If you to look at the application of the AI, China actually they have applied very well in terms of their cars, in terms of their restaurants, and you can see that they are even in the hotel, you see a lot of robots doing the job. Okay, the restaurant they have robots, the hotels have robots. They're doing the deliver job. They will deliver things to your hotel room. So they're so much advanced. Okay, so then what are the tech stocks? Normally for Chinese stock, right, I will go for the tech stock. Okay, so here you have the 7 tech stocks that everybody knows. Okay, let's go through them.
Pauline, can I ask you a question, Pauline?
Yes.
Okay, you see, in the US, recently there was strike at the ports. One of the condition of the union to go back to work is that the company must agree not to use technology, implement AI to take over the job. That will permanently, make sure that the workers will have their work. But in China, like you say, so many of their jobs are being taken over by robots. Even I see many of even the cook, they can use the robot to cook the food. Like during the recent Olympic in China, that was held in China, the food was cooked by robots. And also now, they also have this new coffee making machine which they find that it is actually very good, and it's so cheap. So what happened to all those workers who are displaced by the robots in China? Why are they not complaining of the same problem as the US? Why isn't it like earlier, Professor Sach, he said that okay, they lose their job, but why doesn't US think of something which is new, which is different, which other countries don't have, and they are the one to start it, and the worker will have their work. They have to think of something how to what do you call, make sure that their worker will have work to do. So some of these things doesn't make sense. So my question is that what happened to all those workers who in China who were displaced by the robots?
Yeah. Actually, the high unemployment rate in China, not only because of the AI technology, and another one is the economy is generally is having a recession in China, so that's why they have high unemployment rate. But the regarding the AI, whether it is replacing the human job, somebody asked Jensen Huang whether will AI be replacing the human job, and then what Jensen Huang's answer is that he said AI will not replace the human job, but then it will be replaced by those people who acquire the AI knowledge. So meaning that your job is being displaced, it's not because of the AI that are replacing your job. It's because that another person with the knowledge of AI take over your position. So what he says is that the AI is like a assistant, it's like a tool to help us to make things more productive. So if let's say you are comparing two person A and person B, person A doesn't have any AI knowledge, but then person B knows how to utilize the AI and then to produce things more efficiently. So if you are the employer, you will employ the person B. So that is Jensen Huang's answer. So for me, I think that because now AI, having looked at the ChatGPT and the application, I really think that the ChatGPT is really like a little assistant. I always say that the ChatGPT is my little assistant because it has helped me to make my job so run faster. Okay, I can produce faster. In the past, probably I will take one whole day to do, but now with the ChatGPT and with the AI technology, maybe in 1 hour, within 1 hour, I can finish my task. So it's I wouldn't say that it will replace my job, but then it's just that it can help me to make my work more efficient. So, but however, for the low, like a manual job, whether it is like a dispatcher or whether it is those cook, whether when it involves manual job, I would think that there is some form of a displacement because maybe instead of hiring 3 cooks, you need 1 cook in the kitchen. Instead of hiring 5 waitress, so now you only hire 1 waiter or waitress to do the job because you have other assistant robots to help you. Okay, so yeah, that sense, those manual jobs will be replaced. Okay, so then this will be the problem for the future for the government to solve because in the end the government will have to think of how to to curb all this high unemployment rate. But for US, I think the application is not as what we saw in China because US they are pretty much still using a lot of manual, okay, in the restaurant and things like that. So well, we'll see. We'll see how the unemployment rate in the future will become like a problem. So at the moment, things not like evolved yet, but still I can see that as a potential problem. Yeah. So okay. So then come to this China stock. So what kind of stock that you can buy? I'm sure many of you have some stocks in mind. But however, whether you can access to the Chinese stock depends on whether you can get access to the Hong Kong Stock Exchange or the Shenzhen Stock Exchange, because there are three. Okay, one is the Shanghai Stock Exchange, where it will be mostly on the banking and consumer stock. Then you have the Shenzhen Stock Exchange, which is mostly on the technology stock. And then you have the Hong Kong Stock Exchange, which some of these stocks will also be listed on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange. So when you're buying, you can either go for Shenzhen Stock Exchange, you buy in yuan, or you can go to the Hong Kong Stock Exchange. Okay, so whichever one, I think the Hong Kong Stock Exchange is more easy approachable. So we will look at the Hong Kong Stock Exchange. So what are the shares? Okay, so here are 7 tech stocks, okay, listed on this page. So I will share with you. So if let's say, yeah, complement, that's right. AI is more like a complement. Okay, if let's say you are, okay, looking at individual stocks, these are the 7 stocks. Of course, there are other stocks, but then basically these are the big names that we are all very familiar. There are also ETFs. Okay, ETFs are like top 30 market cap China ETFs. You can also Google search and then it will come out with a list of it. So if you were to buy the ETF, I would suggest you buy the big market cap top 30 China stock. Okay, so here the first one is Alibaba. So Alibaba, I think this one e-commerce I will not emphasize too much, but the market cap is $593 billion. Okay, so this is very, very big market cap. The other one is another e-commerce, which is the JD.com. Okay, about 94.6 billion. Another one is Baidu. Okay, Baidu is something that I like personally, and this Baidu is like a search engine. So currently, it has account for the 70% of the market share in China. Okay, in terms of the search engine. So which means that it's like a Google search, where it has Google search, you have the Google Map and the Google search and a lot of things. So for Baidu, right, if you were to go to China to travel, you have to download the Baidu app, because this Baidu app will give you the map to walk around in China. And then they will also have the review on the food, on the places. So you can check the review before you go to the restaurant. Okay, so it's like a travel companion to you, Baidu app. And then another one, this one is NetEase. NetEase is the gaming. For those of you who are familiar with the gaming, the game, this NetEase is quite a prominent and established video gaming company. Okay, so you can read on, and then there are some interesting games there as well. The market cap is 559.7 B. Okay, another social media is called Weibo. Weibo is more like a Twitter, or like a blog, something like a blog. Okay, so social media, something on the social media. Okay, so this one I'm not that fancy about this stock lah, Weibo. Okay, and then this one I like, Tencent, 639.1 billion market cap, and this is a conglomerate holding company with China's tech industry, and it's the world's largest video game publisher and owns China's top mobile messaging platform, WeChat. And you see WeChat everywhere you go, you see the local people in China, they will use the WeChat to pay everything. But for the foreigner, we can't use the WeChat to pay. So what we need to do is just to have our touch and go. Okay, our touch and go actually has a China the Alipay. So when we just need to load enough money into the touch and go, we go to China, and then we can use the touch and go and then convert into the Alipay, and then we can just pay anywhere. So But the thing is that WeChat is such a well used app in China. So when I was visiting China, right, I saw that China was also in the e-invoicing. Okay, I think this e-invoicing is a recent thing. So what I saw that they are having success about the implementing of the e-invoice is that when you are visiting the restaurant or even when you are buying things from the like a small store seller, okay, they are all equipped with the iPad, like a point of sale is a digital point of sale. So it's like they will have the iPad, either the iPad or some form of a point of sale whereby you will have to pay via those device. So then it will be all linked to the e-invoicing. So like what we are also concerned about, if let's say you want to request for the e-invoice and then you need to ask the store owner to give you the e-invoice receipt, then what do you do? Okay, so in China, this is what I saw is that local people, when they want to claim certain receipts, right, then they have to ask for the e-invoicing bill. So because the original bill doesn't give you the e-invoice, so you have to specially request, just like in Malaysia, we have to specially request. So the procedure is very simple. They requested, and then the storekeeper just said that, you can scan the QR code, and then you WhatsApp me, WeChat me, okay? So you WeChat me your details, and then we will give you the e-invoicing through the WeChat. So everything in terms of the processing of the claiming of the e-invoicing and then getting the e-invoicing, everything is through WeChat. And it's like effortless. It's like so easy. Not like Malaysia, we are like, oh no, you have to fill in so many things in the form. Like in the form, there are like 20 over items you have to fill in, and it will take like 10-20 minutes to fill up the form, and then you can submit, and then you can get your e-invoicing. So it's like so troublesome. But over there, it's like, you just scan the QR code and then you WhatsApp me, you WeChat me, and then I will WeChat you the e-invoicing. So everything is like so simple, so effortless. So we also have invoice for coffee here at our kopitiam for some years already. They are using iPad to place the order too. Yeah. So as long as you are able to, I think for Malaysia, in order to make the e-invoicing become more like a execution more smoothly, we have to educate or we have to come up with like a unified software or something, educate the people that we can use this app or this iPad, and then it's very simple. You just have to pass through go through all the transactions through this iPad, through this app. Okay, it will be very simple. Okay, then you just scan payment, everything will be scanned by pay by Tap and Go, and then everything no need to like so troublesome. Okay, so that is e-invoicing. Actually, the whole world is moving towards e-invoicing. Many countries are also having e-invoicing. It's just that the execution of this implementing this plan, how smooth it is. Will it cause a lot of backfire? Backfire is when you are in you are blurred. You don't know what to do. You don't know, because sometimes you resend the thing is because you do not know what to do with it. So you are resentful. But once you know, it's so simple, so then you will embrace it. You will take it. Okay, so it's just a matter of how we execute it. Okay, so Tencent, personally I like Tencent, and Wukong, recently the game Wukong, the Monkey King, I think it's by Tencent, and it's like within days they make back their capital, they recoup back their capital, and then within like don't know how many weeks they make millions of yuan, okay, on that Wukong app, Wukong game. Then iQIYI is like the Netflix of China. Okay, so if you think that this concept of Netflix works well for the whole world, and then this iQIYI works super well in China as well. So nowadays, every time when I went out, sometimes I'll see that people they are hooked onto the Netflix, or they are hooked onto the movies or the drama in their phone. Okay, so in this iQIYI also same thing. Okay, so you will be watching the videos, movies, everything from the iQIYI app. Okay. Yeah, so these are the stocks that talking about here. Okay, so which I personally I like is the Tencent and Baidu, these two. Okay. Alibaba I used to own it, but now I do not own it. The reason is because I find that the e-commerce is super competitive, very competitive. So not easy to make money. You need to compete because you see this 11/11, Lazada and Shopee. Okay, Lazada and Shopee. So which one you go to? Because they are like head on, you know. Both are also like showing a lot of discount voucher. So in the end, I noticed that I think Shopee gives more discount, so I go to Shopee. Okay, so you have to see, but then some of the brand only Lazada has. Then you have no choice. You have to go to Lazada. Okay. Yeah. Okay, the semiconductors. Okay, good question. Semiconductors. Okay, personally, I feel that the semiconductors is more like a cyclical. It's not like a like if you look at Tencent, this one WeChat is like a long term thing. It's like everybody every day you use it on a daily basis, so you don't have a cyclical problem. Like you don't have a whether you get enough sales or not enough sales, that kind of a problem. Okay, so it's more like consumer based. But if you are looking at the SMIC, right, I will feel that it is more industrial producer. So there is some form of a cyclical nature in it. So this stock you have to monitor. If it's good, it will do very well. If it's not good, then it will have some low cycle. So personally, if let's say I'm more like lazy type of investor, I just buy and hold, I don't want to monitor, then I will go for the consumer base. Okay. Okay, which ETF can invest in China? Yeah. So there is actually one, it's called the top 20, top 30. Okay. China top 30 ETF. Um, okay. Actually, this one I have to come back to you because there is one that I basically I saw it, but then I forgot the name of it. I think it could be iShare China Large Cap FXI. Yeah, I think it's this one. iShare China Large Cap ETF, this one, FXI. So we look at the FXI. Okay. So this is the SMIC here. Okay. Then FXI. Yeah, I was looking at this one. So that's why I have the chart here. So I was looking at it. It had from this low to this swing high, and then it had a retracement until the 50% of the Fibonacci level. So here I think that it's a buy. Okay, because here you can see that it's like consolidating around this area. So that's why I think it's a buy here. Okay, for this iShare China Large Cap ETF. So it will be comprised of all the large cap, like the names that I mentioned just now. Okay, so this one is this ETF. But there are also other ETFs, but particularly I'm observing this one. Okay, I'm following this one, iShare. Okay, so I can give you this link. Okay, but particularly I prefer this FXI iShare. Okay, this one. Okay. There's also this one, I share MSCI China ETF. So this because this iShares is actually by what's the fund manager's name? Suddenly slip off my mind. It's a very famous fund manager's name. Okay. Anyway, you can always Google. Okay. This one is called the MCHI. Okay, MCHI, you look at the share price. MCHI. This one. Okay, so same thing. This one also looking at this W and then hit the top here and then looking at the W consolidation here as well. And so this one also okay. Because I said it's good. Okay. This one even hit the 618 and then rebound from there. Okay. So this one. Okay. The next okay, wait. Next, I want to talk about the Bitcoin. Pinduoduo is an e-commerce. It's a very successful e-commerce. Okay. However, Pinduoduo is listed on the US. So yeah, you can also consider Pinduoduo. But again, it's an e-commerce. So personally, I feel that e-commerce very difficult to make money. Okay. It's very, very competitive. But nevertheless, so far, Pinduoduo is leading in terms of the e-commerce. They even said that in the US, right, the most downloadable app is the Shin app. You know, the clothing fashion app. A lot of people, they download that because they can buy a lot of cheap clothes in the US. And there are a lot of Chinese apps most downloadable in US because these Americans, they are also looking at the inflation. They want to buy cheaper things. So when they want to buy cheaper things, of course they have to turn to China. Okay. But I don't know how Trump is going to stop this people from buying things from China. I mean, US people from buying things from China. I don't know how it's going to stop. It's not easy. Okay, so this one interesting. Bitcoin. Okay, Bitcoin hit a record 89,000 intraday, 89, and then came down to a little bit. Now it's about now today all down. Okay, crypto 86. Yeah. Okay. So you can see that now it's about 86, but when you look at this, what's the reason that caused this euphoria? And of course, the main catalyst is Donald Trump. He always like cryptocurrency. Okay, so when he became the president, definitely the Bitcoin had this euphoria. And then when you have because it happened to break higher high. If you look at the chart, it happened to break higher high just before before the election. I think it broke before the election. BTC. So this day was what day? November 5th. On the day of the election itself, it break this historical high. Okay, so this is the critical important historical high that caused this important move. Okay, because when you are able to break a historical high, this sends a lot of confidence, and plus the Donald Trump effect. So you see that this go up to the roof. Okay. So it's overbought. Okay, I wouldn't advise you advise you to go in at this moment. But then if it will retrace and then you really like this area here will be better to enter. Now, not all of us will access to this Bitcoin. Like for example, I think Leti has actually shared with us 3 weeks ago about the trading the Bitcoin. Remember? Okay, so so for her, she was trading at the Binance platform as well as the Bybit platform, and then there is one more. Okay, I do not have my phone with me, so there are 3. But then the Binance is the most people trade because it's a well-known platform, and the Bybit. The other day I look at it. BingX. Okay, BingX. The other day I look at the Bybit. It's also very convenient. Like you can easily open the account online, so it's very super easy. Okay, so these are the more leverage one. So which means that you can use the leverage and then you can either make a lot or lose a lot because it's a leverage, like 1x, 2x, 3x, that kind of a thing. Okay, so that is on a high risk, high return, that kind of a trading format. Now, if let's say you want the safer one, you go for the ETF. Okay, so the ETF will be the IBIT, none other than IBIT. Okay, IBIT. So this IBIT actually just started in this year in February. Okay, so this is a big gap up, and the price is here now. Okay, so this one you can also look at whenever if you really like this kind of cryptocurrency, you want to diversify, you can also think of investing, but when it comes down a little bit, because now it's like go all the way up. Yeah, because this is a new ETF, so that's why you see that the share price is a lot of gap. Okay, and it also shows that very volatile. This ETF is very, very volatile. But if you to ask a lot of people, they will think of IBIT, none other than IBIT. Okay, if you are looking at the Bitcoin ETF, they will say IBIT. Okay, but there are also a lot of cryptocurrency. You can actually Google and then you can see a whole list of the cryptocurrency ETF as well. Okay, but the most reputable one will be this one. Okay, so any questions on the Bitcoin? Because I know that some of you are very, very interested in the cryptocurrency, especially the younger generation. Okay, let me share with you my son's story, because he just invested. My eldest son is 26 years old. He just started investing this year. Okay, he has saved some money and then he just started investing this year. So because he's working for a US company, so his source of income is foreign. So he only so far he only invested in US and Singapore. Okay, so he doesn't have any Malaysian stock at all. Okay, only US and Singapore. So what he bought is in his portfolio, right? He bought 5 ETFs, including the IBIT, and also the VOO and all those index, and also there's one China ETF. Okay, so he bought 5 ETFs and then 1 NVIDIA stock. Okay, so that's his portfolio. 1 NVIDIA stock and then the rest are all ETFs. And then his Singapore stocks are all banks. Okay, so he has DBS banks. So far he has DBS banks only. He's looking at buying into other banks as well. So so then this morning he said, oh, why I'm every day I'm making money. Okay, because he's new, you see, so he's like he's very happy and he said, oh, every day I'm making money. So he's very proud of his selection of the stock. So then I have to tell you, and then I have to tell him, I said that, okay, you a few months later, you get back to me about your stock position, because I told him that the share market is always up and down. You can't have a situation whereby you see your portfolio up all the time. That's impossible. Okay, there will be a situation where you can see that your share will come down. Okay, so the important thing is that you have to diversify, and then you have to invest on stages. So you have a plan, what amount of money that you want to invest. For example, 10K, 20K. Okay, you have a plan. Then after that, then you decide, okay, for US stock, how many percent? Singapore, how many percent? Malaysia, how many percent? So you have that plan first. Then after that, then you carry out with your plan. Okay, so if let's say you use up your budget for this year, then that's it, enough. You can't invest already. You have to wait for next year. Next year, refresh the budget again, then you can invest again. So there's no hurry for you to invest. Okay, because now you see the market go higher, and just because you see the market go higher, you think that you are smart, and then you can continue to make money. Then you continue to pour in more and more money, and this one in time frame, I think that is too risky. Okay, so that's how I told him. So for everybody, I will say the same thing. So always spread out your investment on stages. Do not put at one single time frame, because the time frame that you see now is good, but it will come down one day. Okay. Okay, Jane says that Baidu, Tencent, SSI, ATS stock in US. Yeah, so meaning that you have to diversify lah. Like Baidu and the Tencent is Hong Kong shares, right? Then the FXI and the MHCI, these are US ETF, okay, based in the US. So you have to have a US brokerage account to trade that. Then for Kate says that for Malaysian, can try Luno, can auto invest every hour, day, week, lower your average price. Yeah, good idea. Okay, so don't forget, Malaysia, we have the Luno app, whereby it will link to our Maybank or our any online banking system, whereby you can easily transfer in and out of your Luno app. Okay, so that one is a good one. Okay, so you can also invest on that. Okay, so try to diversify. What I want to say is that diversify. Okay, so the most important is diversify. Okay, so I think Bitcoin is anything else? Okay, if nothing else, then we look at the individual stock. So okay, so you can give me your stock that you want me to see when I will look for you. I think today Jane asked me to look at MRCB. Okay, so for MRCB, I do have some new information. Although you see technically it's like this, right? But I want to show you the latest MRCB annual report. So this is the latest 2023 MRCB and annual report. Their financial year end is, I think, is December 2023. Okay. So here you will see that they have their book order. So here is their book order. Okay. So they have three segments, property and development, engineering and construction, and then facility management and parking. So these two are the bulk of the revenue. Okay. Just like Gamuda, engineering and construction, and also the property, these two are the big contribution of their revenue. So you see their book order. Okay, first of all, their urban land bank is 1,148 acres. That is fantastic land bank. Okay, and then this 1,148 acres of land bank has a GDV value of 31 billion. Okay, the property unbilled is 234 million. Yeah, so this is the actual one that supposed to see in the revenue. So this is just a big figure that it may not turn into the revenue, but this one is 234 million. This one is going to be in the revenue. And then this is this year's 2023 revenue. Okay. On the this one is property. Property is looking at this unbilled is 234. And for the construction and engineering, the unbilled book order is 15.7 billion. Okay, external client construction order book is 26.1 billion. Okay, so in terms of their book order, right, it's quite strong. Okay, so when we look at the share price, okay, no doubt it is in a not a favorable position because of technical below this 200-day, and then this looks like a dead cat bounce. Okay, this is a typical dead cat bounce because you have this below the 200 and the 20. So technically it is no good, but however, fundamentally you have the potential book order, which means that in the future the revenue will increase. Okay, it's just a matter of time. So which means that this one it will have to go through this low cycle because of technically weak, right? So it will have to go through the low cycle, and after that then it will emerge again. Okay, so which means that you must have the time now, holding period, if you want to hold it. Okay, so mostly say Magnitech. Okay, Magnitech is a packaging company, right? Oh, quite good, huh? Okay, so this is on the uptrend. Their earnings also rising on an uptrend with the net profit also rising. So which means that this company is doing very well. Okay, yeah, packaging. So this is doing very well. And super good dividend as well, right? So let me check their dividend, because the last time I saw is that they have very good dividend. Okay, very, very consistent dividend. 5-6% is very good. Okay, so long term, okay, consider as a dividend stock. Okay, GOL is from which country? Is it Malaysia one?
Sorry, Porlin, is gold. Sorry.
Oh, I see. Okay. Gold, okay. So we look at gold. When you see this, okay, I'll see that this one is temporary. It's like a correction. Okay, because you have gone up so high, so now it's due for correction. So whenever you see the RSI, so normally for this gold, right, I will look at the RSI. So if you see the gold is below 50%, like now it is below 50, it's 38, below 40. So I will buy indeed, and then hold it. Okay. So this one, if you are thinking of investment for longer term, you can buy the SPDR GLD. Okay, which is SPDR GLD. SPDR Gold. Okay, you can look at this as GLD. Okay, this one. Okay, so if you are thinking of like buying for holding just like the ETF like that, this is the one that you can hold. Okay, so you can look for if you want to wait, you see whether it will come to this level. So I'm not sure whether it will come to this 30% level, but here it's very attractive to me already lah. Okay. Sun. Okay, for Sun REIT, I think we will continue to hold because this one is dividend. Okay, there's no question, no issue. Okay, so it's easy purchase. OCBC. Okay, this one, if you are thinking of buying, I would think that wait until about 15 something. Okay, wait until it come down to 15 something, then you buy. K71U. Okay, so for this one, currently it's below the 20, but however, the nature is a dividend nature, right? So which means that it is a buy time now because it is below 30, so which is a buy. Okay, because this is a dividend stock. So dividend stock, my approach is the RSI below 30 is a buy. Okay. AXI6. This one is Malaysia active rate, is it? Malaysia one.
Yes, correct, Pauline, correct.
Yeah. Also look at buy also because this is also looking at a very attractive price, and then you have the long tail hammer, which means that these are reversal candlestick. Okay, so this is also a buy. Mr. DIY. And Mr. DIY, because I believe in like a longer term kind of improvement for Mr. DIY, because if you to look at the brand, the branding wise, it's like a household name. Everybody, if you want to buy anything, you say, "Oh, Mr. DIY." Okay, so if you can achieve that, that means this company could be able to do well in the long term. Okay, so I would think that if let's say you are thinking of whether you want to buy now, at the moment it is still going higher. So the RSI, however, the RSI does come below 50. So in fact, if you to ask me, right, I'm thinking it's a buy because RSI below 50 is because we are looking at this as an uptrend, and then when RSI is below 50, it is a buy signal. Okay, to me, it's a buy. YTL. YTL again, I see this as a buy as well because it has come down to this low level. It has 40, I think 30-40% drop from the top here. Before that, you were probably thinking of buying. But now with this scandal, isn't this offer a cheaper price for you to own this stock? The fundamental, given the fundamental is still, I mean, to me, I find that the fundamental is okay. Even with the scandal of the MACC investigation, of course, this one, it can be material lah, because if let's say it's really something, then material, maybe it may be financially material, maybe some fine or whatever. Okay, so that is a potential there. But besides that, otherwise, this one is a good, okay, it's a good stock fundamentally. Okay. FKLI. FKLI, initially I said 1610 is the support, but today it has crossed below the 1610. Okay, which means that the outlook for RSI is not so favorable. Okay. But however, if you are to see there is a potential to form a W. Okay, so given that the US market no black swan event, and then the US market continue to do well, there is a possibility you will see a reversal candlestick and then it will form a W. So when you see a W, then it will be like a swing trade. Okay, so if let's say you are thinking of trading this as a swing trade, meaning that your potential is about 20 points or more, I think you can wait until you see a W formation. Because right now you haven't seen a W yet. Even here, it is below, it is around 40. Okay. I would prefer below 40. If it's below 40, it will better. Okay, below 40 or 30, it will be better. So you monitor here, see whether it can dip down. Then only it will be a better entry point for you. So now you just hold on to it first. Okay. Yeah. D-Sonic. also is forming a W. So I would advise you to wait first to see a W first, then only you can enter. Because it's forming already. So you just, and especially this is the support line. So there is a good chance that it will form a W. Okay, Microsoft, okay, all this stock has taken off. Okay. Okay, Microsoft has come to this 200-day MA line. Okay, so this one is a bit strange because the other tech stocks are doing well, but this Microsoft is coming down. Let's see. Because I don't see any negative news about it. Let me check. The only thing is the profit taking, and then technically weak. Okay, but nevertheless, you know the foundation, the fundamental is strong for this one. Okay, so perhaps if you are thinking of buying it, you can accumulate when it ever come down to around this level. You can think of accumulation because I don't see why it will crash. Okay, unless what happened, unless you have a black swan event in the US. Okay, the black swan event can be something like a terrorist attack or some form of a terrorism or something. Okay, in terms of the economy, pretty much it's nothing much to say. Okay, the inflation data is low, the unemployment rate is low, and then the interest rate is coming down. Okay, so in terms of the economic data, I don't see much thing to talk about unless there's terrorism. Okay, so for this stock, the fundamental is still good. It's very good indeed. Okay, all this you are looking at everybody computer has a Microsoft. Okay, so this is long term. It's just that technically it is weak. Okay, I will think of opportunity to add more if it ever come down. Now, okay, now because it is coming down, right? So you have to wait first. Wait for a like a W. So now you see one U and then another U. Okay, wait for another down. Google. Google, if it break this, and then it will go higher. Okay, so if you are thinking of buying, because this year, normally for this kind of a long-term stock, I don't want to buy at this point. I will look at the RSI. For long-term holder, I don't buy at this point. Okay, so which means it doesn't fit my criteria to buy. I will not buy for this one. And then Meta. The Meta also above 50. Also at above 50. Also, I will want to wait until below 50 first. Then I'll buy. Okay, if you are thinking of really timing to a very, very good timing, I will wait first. Okay, however, the Microsoft seems okay. It's just that you need to wait for like a W to form. Okay. Yeah, rarely a lot, so that's why I have to wait and see first. Okay. KRs A, B, and B. Okay. Yeah, this is higher high. This is a breakout. Okay, for sure it is a breakout. So with this breakout, you are looking at this is the midpoint. Can I check the PE ratio? I check the PE ratio first. Oh, PE ratio is very reasonable. It's 10 only. Okay, so which means that fundamentally the valuation is reasonable. It's only 10 times. Okay, so I would think that you can buy. Okay, whether you want to buy precisely around where I think around here 4.76, if it ever come down 4.76 will be a better price to buy. Okay, because the P ratio is quite attractive. Yeah, I can add. Okay, so you just need to refine your entry price around 4.75. Singapore Bank, DBS. Yeah, Singapore Bank, I feel that they are like too high already lah. DBS.
No, Pauline, I mean the DBS, the rumor is saying DBS might want to buy over the and
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, yeah. Yes, correct. So that's why it jumped up because of that news. Okay. So which is good because DBS Bank is a very reputable bank, so it has a good management and this is positive. So yes, which means that you have to buy it tomorrow already because if let's say you want to buy after they have confirmed, then it will be too high already. So you buy at the rumor. So now it's a rumor, so you have to buy now. Yeah, which means that it is a buy. Okay. Banana. Yeah, technically weak because this is a decade bounce here because this 200-day and then this is a decade bounce and then let me check the price target. See whether it reached the price target. Once it reached the price target, then you are looking for a rebound.
Pauline, I have this idea about Kenanga because Kenanga they pay quite good dividend. So usually what I want to do is that I want to buy back at a low price, and after I collected the dividend which they will pay in April, and the price still go up, and on reversal I sell. So actually
Yeah.
I've do this a few round
Yes.
already, but this
Yeah,
time I
true.
don't know why the price came down so much, big drop. So I try to check, see whether there is any bad news or anything, but couldn't find any. Only thing is that the last quarter result is a bit weak.
Yeah, net profit is a bit, but the revenue is increased. So this net profit, it could be due to some, I don't know, extra, have to investigate what is this. But this is a good stock. I mean, fundamentally, it's good because you see you have a rising revenue. There's no problem about the market share. And also the dividend yield is very attractive. April 1st, which is next year, April. So which means that if you were to buy now, you have to hold until next year lah. If let's say according to this the dividend date, around April you have to sell. So but for me, I feel that it is reached the bottom here already because this bottom is the previous low. And it has reached. Have to zoom in and see whether precisely whether it has reached. Yeah, it has reached. Okay, so which means that you can buy. You can buy. Whether precisely you want to buy at 82 cents, 83 cents, 84 cents, this will depend on tomorrow. Okay, tomorrow market. So yeah, it's a buy here. Okay, I think it will reverse very soon. Also because this is a bank, it's an investment bank, such a good fundamental bank. So I don't see why. I also don't know. I don't know. I will. Normally from here you can try to see if there is any form of a forum. Try to see if there is any discussion. 22. Yeah, they didn't say much also. So I don't know. It didn't say much. But I see that it is coming to a bottom. Technically, it is coming to a bottom here, around here. So whether you buy around 82 cents, whatever, I think it's okay. And then hold until the next dividend. You receive the dividend, you make 8% gain. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay, continue. Okay, continue. This was the target that I draw last time, right? Because this target was actually measuring the height of the. Okay, let me measure again. So if I were to move this down, yeah, it's actually below the target price already. Below the target price, which means that they probably will announce some negative earnings, I think. Probably announcing some negative earnings. This is the second quarter 2024. So the earnings is about 200 million. Okay. So which means that the next quarter maybe is in danger. So that's why the share price will look like this. But however, if you are looking at this stock as a long-term hold, right? You see the operation is so big in Genting. They have casino all over the world. And especially the one in Singapore, which is Genting, Singapore. So in terms of the earnings, they have the potential to make the earnings. Maybe temporary, they are looking at some problem in their cash flow. Okay, I'm not sure. So it also depends. The reason I went to Genting, Malaysia, which is the Genting, it was actually in October, before October. I think it was in August. I saw that it was full of people, crowded with people. Okay, so and also they have a development in Genting as well, the theme park. So all these are potential revenue for the future. So I think this one probably is sell down by the foreign investor. So let me check the foreign investors. Are they selling our Bursa stock? Oh yeah, it is. So it is sold by the foreign stock, international seller. They are selling for the last few days. Okay, so which means that these are technically okay. It's not like fundamental. It's based on technically. There are many reasons why the foreign investors are selling. It could be that they are looking at Malaysia as a whole. They are trying to go to another place or whatever, go to China or whatever. Okay, so they are just moving around their money. So these are all short-term money, but the fundamental is still okay. Okay. Palantir. Palantir has gone up a lot. Yeah. Normally I don't ask people to chase higher. I will not enter. Okay, I will not enter. You normally you enter when it break higher high. You enter here, but you don't enter there. So I wouldn't. Okay. Have to wait lah. Wait first. Okay. No. Yeah. But first of all, is this something that you are holding for many, many years already? Do you intend to hold it for long term as a dividend collector? Like it's a dividend stock for you? If it's a dividend stock for you, there's no reason you have to sell. But if let's say this one is something that you plan to buy sell, then maybe you can sell when it is high. But people are looking at the peak cycle is actually Chinese New Year next year. because of the Chinese New Year and as well as the Hari Raya. So people are looking at the February and the March as the peak cycle. So maybe you can wait a little bit, okay, for the price to go higher, or when the price go horizontal, then only you sell. Because now it's still up. Okay, I can't tell whether it will continue to go up or not. Unless I see a horizontal movement, then I say, okay, it's a top. But there's no horizontal movement. It's still up. So it's still up. Okay, so I have to say that you can still hold on to it. But if you want to sell some, you can sell some. Okay, but don't sell all. Yeah. Okay. Nikkei. Okay, Nikkei is horizontal. You can see that this is horizontal. So it may not be too bullish. So it's horizontal, meaning that it's neither up or down. So it's like a range bound. So range bound, not easy to trade on a range bound. Not easy. EXN. Wow, this one. This one is what's the news? But there is no news, right? I don't see any news on it. What I can see is that the neckline is broken. So technically it has to go like the height of this target, which is 75, 60, about 15 cents. So 45, yeah, around there. 45 is the target lah. So within days it reached the target already because the distance here is 15 cents. So from here you minus 15 cents, it will be 45 cents. So exactly that. So target reached. So when target reach means that it may rebound. So you observe see whether it will rebound or not. Okay. So by right, it should be rebounding. If it didn't, then probably it will go down. But I think that it may rebounding soon. Okay. Will the KSI able to reach 1,700 by year end 2024? Okay. Because I did say that 1610 will be the support. So if we fail to sustain at 1610, then the 1,700 is not achievable. It may not achievable. Okay, because we cannot sustain the 16100 unless we can sustain 16100. Even if we can sustain 16100, then I'm thinking that the highest it may go is only about 16 maybe 50. Okay, 1650 to 1680. It will not be so high because the reason for it is because these few days I noticed that while Singapore side is doing very well, US side is doing very well, but Malaysia is not doing well. So there is some concern, okay, when the neighboring country, they are doing well, but not Malaysia. Is it something that Malaysia, the policy that we have announced during the budget, doesn't please the foreign investors? Okay, so which is why next week I want to talk about the minimum wage, because I think that will definitely hurt our GDP for next year. Our prime minister is looking at 5.5 GDP growth for next year, 4.5 to 5.5 GDP growth for next year. But to me, if let's say we really go ahead with the minimum wage and also the SST, meaning that you are now having a lot of area you have to incur the SST. And all these are costs, and also removal of the subsidy. So when you have all these things, and it will definitely dampen our GDP growth for next year. So I don't have a rosy picture for the next year GDP growth. Okay, with all this policy that's in place, that announced during the budget. So perhaps next week I will talk about that. Okay. Yeah, more than 10 years, then you can keep lah. You don't have to sell because why? Because over the years, right, you have already probably recouped back your capital already. You have actually get all the dividends that are able to cover your capital. So meaning that this stock here is actually cost free to you or cost very little to you, very, very little to you. Okay, because you already collected so much of a dividend already. Okay, Aeon credit. Okay, Aeon credit. Yeah, Eva asked me Aeon credit the other day. Okay, because this is a 200 day. My my decision was because it will rebound at the 200 day, but now it is like still moving below at the 200 day moving average. So meaning that it is still weak. So Eva, have you bought already? You bought already, Eva? Okay, if you haven't buy, you bought some lah.
Bought some.
Okay. You bought at what price?
I bought don't remember about six something.
Okay, now it's 685.
690. I bought at 690. My first batch I bought at 560.
560, 690. Okay, so you're averaging up lah, adding the position. So okay. Then I think you stop there. Don't add anymore. Because this is if it consistently below the 200, the longer days, because for me I want to see within 1 week it has to go back up. But if let's say it stays below this 200 day for 3 weeks, then not good already. Not good. Okay, so you may want to consider selling some if it stays below the 200 for 3 weeks. Okay, so we have to monitor this one. RCE cap. Okay, let me check the RCE. RCE cap is okay because you break the new high, so it is going higher. Which is better? Technically RCE cap is better. Technically. This edge. Okay. The edge. Let me check this new. Can you see? DXN leases corporate jet for business expansion. Why? Why do they need a corporate jet? From its major shareholder that will cost up to a year expand its global business? This is ridiculous. What it means is that they are buying like a private jet for the major shareholder, which is the boss now, that costs up to 6.6 million. Presumably they want to expand the global business, but I think nonsense. I think this is not good. You can't spend the people's money on this kind of luxury stuff. So I think this is in the integrity of this founder has problems. Okay, so I think better avoid this. Better avoid. Okay. Nvidia has officially joined Dow Jones, but share price as bullish as most people think. Not as bullish as most people think. Give it some time, okay? Because after all, the bigger revenue from the Blackwell chip is haven't realized yet. The waiting list is long because they keep delaying the product. I mean, not the production, but the delivery. So once the Blackwell is able to improve their production, I think the revenue will normalize. Okay, it's a longer term lah for Nvidia. Yeah, that's right. Hata Lega, to keep or to sell? Can look at plantation sector or not? Okay. Okay, I look at the Hata Lega first. Wait, let me see the Fibonacci. Oh, good. It broke the 618, but then after it broke, then it come down. But nevertheless, it looks good. Technically looks good. Which means technically you should keep on holding it first at 150, yeah. Oh, that means you double up already. Because now it's still on the uptrend. So I think you probably can wait for a while because it's still going up higher. Okay, unless it breaks below the 20-day, you sell below the 20-day. You monitor if it cross below on a daily basis, daily chart, cross below the 20-day, then only you sell. Okay, we give it some time to grow higher first. Okay, I think it's still going on the way up. Unless it breaks the 20-day, then it will be down. Okay. Plantation sector looks like a breakout. Okay, let me check the FCPO. This is a breakout, okay, for sure. I already marked the gap and then gap up. Then Usa plantation. Oh yeah, breakout. Okay, so this is a trend, previous high broken already. Okay, so which means this level should not come down. Okay, if you want to see whether you can continue to hold it, it cannot come down to this level. Okay, this level cannot come down. It can go up and then it will testing and then it will go higher. So currently it is a breakout. Okay, so I think all the SAS, oh, I have to erase this thing. Yeah, I think all the like a KLK. KLK also, this is a big W also breaking out. UTD. Also, is this a historical high? Let me check. Also breaking historical high, this UTD. Okay, all these are looking at technically breakout. Okay, which means that if you are thinking of taking advantage of this swing trade, you can consider the plantation sector. Okay. But now at the moment it is like going higher, right? So you have to look for a red candlestick bar. Okay, wait for it to come down. Wait for some red candlestick bar, then only you can go in again because the support is here. Okay, this one is for trading. I don't think it's for trading because if I were to look at the historical price for the SCPO, the year ending with 1995, 2005, 2015, and then the next year 2025, it's not a good year for the plantation price, for the FCPO price. It's not a good year. So this rally, right, it could be short-lived, maybe until the first quarter of next year, maybe just for short-lived only. So we'll see, okay? But at the moment, it's technically breakout. Okay. So, okay, so I will stop here. Next week, we'll start our new intake already, yeah? So next week, we will, if let's say whoever want to join the new intake, let me know, and then I'll put you in the WhatsApp group. Okay, so next Wednesday, we'll start the new intake on the technical analysis, as the fundamental will start on the December 1st. Okay, and next Monday, we will have a tutorial on how to register the trading view for the new student. Okay, I will announce it in the WhatsApp group. Okay, so next week I'll see you guys next Tuesday. Okay, thank you. Good night. Okay, bye-bye.